Hey everybody, it's PJ from Wisconsin Airgunners. It is currently 10 below zero and we're walking out to hang a 100-yard bench rest target on the far backstop so that be a little cold weather practice. Got the Milwaukee brand heated vest on, and I don't know, 10 below. It's pretty cold. It was 19 below when the alarm went off this morning, and sun's out now, so you can see where the might be able to catch the deer back there. And they're not particularly happy that they're gonna have to move around a little bit, but they'll be okay. So we're gonna get this hung up, and upside is I get to shoot from indoors. The downside, of course, is got to walk out and put a target up. So, got the backstop here, and give me a minute and get this hung. All right, got the target hung. And so we'll take a few moments today as the schedule allows and get a little shooting in. Okay, I've got the rifle Impact M3 and 30 cal aired up, got some pellets in. We just put that target out there, and while it's great to be able to shoot inside, there are some challenges yet. Every time the wind changes a little bit, that actually changes my sight picture a little bit based on just how much mirage there is coming from, inside, granted inside basement, but inside to outside. So that little bit of fuzziness makes shooting like this a challenge. I also have about 14 deer over the last couple of days that herd has kind of cycled through, and they're rooting around in the snow looking for stuff to munch on, little pine cones and stuff like that. So I had a couple of deer up sniffing the actual target paper. So I got to give them an opportunity to move off, because I'm not interested in harming them doing target shooting. So all right, everything looks clear down there. Let's start looking at a sighter and see what happens. You might ask, and honestly it might be a legitimate question, why bother on a day like this to do practice shooting? Well, here's the answer. Reason number one is that the dates for the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge have just been announced. And this year, it's going to be back in June. So there is no time like the present to get ready and get started and get to practice. Looks pretty spot on. Wind coming up there. All right, so the wind caught up there, and I'll say based on the last hit, pushed it about 2 inches. So it pushed it from smack dab in the center of the 8 ring into the 5 ring. So you got to pay attention to the wind. In case you're wondering what I'm shooting today, I have the FX Impact M3. It's a 30 caliber. It's got the 700 millimeter barrel on it. I am also running the FX Integrated Harmonic Tuner, and out front I've got a Donnie FL Ronin. On top I've got the Element Optics Titan scope. I've got a couple of pieces of Saber tactical kit. Got the Arca Swiss Picatinny rail out front. I've got a bag rider and the Saber tactical bench monopod back here. Also, what I think is the missing link for this rifle, the Saber tactical adjustable butt pad. I do use an electronic level. Make sure everything's all trued up. And out front, we've got an Accutac bipod. Oh, you probably want to know how fast it's shooting. It's going with the 44 grain, either JSB or FX pellets. It's going at about 860 feet per second, which I think is just a sweet spot for competition shooting. The rear reg, or the shooting regulator, is just over 100 bar. The front reg is set at about 150 bar. The little wheel here is dead center in the middle at 3, and I've got the dial set on 12. This practice session is a little bit more than me doing crazy things in crazy weather conditions. I'm also practicing working with wind reeds and battling through mirage, which is a fact of nature when you're looking through optics at long distances and there's temperature differentials involved. The main part of my practice is using the bench version of the Saber Tactical monopod. The monopod is engineered to allow you to make very precise adjustments up, down, and left and right. I had one of the units prior to heading out to Utah for the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge in 2021, but I didn't take the time to practice with it. And in the end, on competition day, I felt more comfortable with a beanbag rest, and that's what I used for competition. This year, I'm going to get the practice in ahead of time. And by June, I will definitely be ready to go because I really think this has the opportunity to give me a little bit of an extra edge in competition. On that last row, the wind has really done some crazy things. There was one point where it actually totally switched 180 degrees. That isn't that common here, but it was pushing reasonably hard, 4 or 5 miles an hour going that way, and then it just, boom, the wind flags all shifted and everything was going that way. Crazy stuff. If you've never seen how 100-yard bench rest works, you actually take shots at 25 individual targets, and the targets are aligned in a grid. The target itself is like 3 feet wide by 4 feet tall. You also have 5 sighter targets along the bottom, and you can shoot those as many times as you want, but you can only put 1 shot in each of the other targets. The 8 ring, just to give you a sense of scale, is about 2 inches, so you're trying to keep it inside of that. All right, well, that's the game, playing the wind and seeing what it does. So we'll head out there. I'll turn the vest up and check the temp and see how that scores out. So while I was shooting for that half hour or so, the temperature came up a couple degrees, but the wind also came with it. All right. Well, this is what we want. We want everyone like that. It doesn't work out that way. But here's the top row. That's 2 10s, an 8. That would score at a 10. And that's an 8. So for that row, we're at -4. Oh boy, that's a 9 or a 10. That's a 9, 8, 9, and 7. So that's first row is a 4. That one's 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna give myself a 10 on that one. That's a 10. That's a 10. I think that's gonna plug at a 9. I think that's gonna plug as a 10. So they plug at RMAC with a 35 caliber. That's going to be right on the line. I'm not going to count that one. So 1, I'll count that one. 2, 3. So 3 on that one. So 4, 6, and 3. That's 13 on the first 3. That's a 10. This one, oh man, a big gust of wind came up. That's going to be a 5. And that's a 6. Ooh, 10x there. And this is when the wind shifted. It completely turned, and I'm looking at wind forecast. We actually have wind coming out of the south right now. And I think it was just the way it broke around the house, and it totally flipped. So no joy there. That's going to be a 5. That's a 6. So there's 9. That one's just awful. I think that one would go as a 5. So that's like -14 or 14 on that row. And then we get down here, 9. That's probably an 8. That one I have no idea what happened. No idea at all. It's a 5. Another 9 and an 8. So quick and unofficial scoring, I think it's a 211 with 2 X's. Certainly not bad, given the temperature conditions and the part that you guys can't necessarily see. But boy, the extreme cold, shooting from inside to outside, was really not fogging up the scope. I shouldn't say that. Not fogging at all, but the mirage. Every time the wind shifted was very difficult to see through. Really, one shot that I have no idea. I didn't inspect the pellets; they were straight out of the tin, so entirely possible it was kind of an off skirt or something like that. One shot, I don't know what happened. It just didn't hit where I expected it to, and then one, I definitely missed a wind shift. Had I been out in the elements, I probably would have noticed. But as it is, I just didn't see it. Didn't see it coming, and it completely took what had been a very consistent just drop to the right. All of a sudden went way out to the left. So you should be seeing that right there. I mean, if it was pushing, it was pushing that way. But boy, that one really just took off on me. folks, get out there and shoot. That's all I can say. You got to shoot in all the elements if you want to be able to connect with things. And if this isn't your cup of tea, then my advice would be to move somewhere warmer. Who knows, maybe that'll be in the future for me. Until the next video, everybody, shoot safe, shoot straight, and we'll see you around.